kind of lost track of two phones and various videos now, so really not sure where I am with what. Trips to the jungle and whatnot, but today is Monday, which must be about whatever Monday the 20. Saturday was the 26th, so it must be the 28th today, 28th of January. So Saturday night had the ceremony. May have already spoken about it in the other phone. Can't remember, it's charging at the moment. Got rigged up with a solar panel that I borrowed from the kitchen. Anyway, didn't quite fit, but I screwed it around a bit and managed to poke her in there and get the battery charging. So I've got a solar panel outside, so that's a bit better. So they're walking it down to Maestro's hut, but it doesn't seem to charge there very well, I don't know. But anyway, it is interesting what's been going on with this other group, and I've wondered why they've all never seemed relaxed. There's a lot of worry, and some of them have got more experience than me in terms of ayahuasca. I was just chatting to one of the girls, and she's always seemed quite serious. She's got over 100 ceremonies experience. Now it's a fucking good reason. I think I felt or just read. Alexander's fine. He's just the first one here, really. I've chatted to him here, and he's great, lovely guy. And it's nice for him because he's a bit overwhelmed with feminine energies. And I think there is a lot of anxiety in the group, and for good reason, it turns out, because the most friendly girl from Bosnia that I met on the first day, she was very chatty and whatnot. She's not got much experience, but it turns out it was her that was doing all the screaming. But worse, I was just talking at breakfast with one of the other girls who's been with their kind of group leader, Tesha, who runs her own ceremonies in the States. She's been a shamana for about 5 years, singing, trained in different places, but she's not singing here for their group. They're just leaving it to Maestro Christian, who their group's working with, paying for. So chatting to her, I was telling her about my ceremony alone with Maestro and going with my gut instinct, which was, and being on Katara as well because he's jealous. Because Maestro came to my tambo just before the ceremony. He said, you want to come to ceremony in the Maloka? And my instinct all day was, no, I'm going to go on my own with Maestro. So we had our own ceremony in Giorgio's little house. He didn't go. So it was just Roberto, who didn't take the medicine either because he was tired. So it was just me and Maestro on the medicine. And so this will be 90, which one is it? 93 still. But the video I've done, I don't know. I got to check all these. I don't know where I am. Yeah, it's 2 ceremonies a week, 2 per dieta. So it was 93. I came here on 89, so I've done 4, so it's 93. So got closed in my ceremony from Katawa. So we know where we are. We went and got the bark for initially Huaca Purana. But then, I did videos on that with the boat when we came back off the boat. So I won't cover that again. So anyway, I'll just talk about what happened in 93 from our perspective. Because at one point in the ceremony, there was a lot of screaming going on, like horrendous. We were listening going, oof, no, that sounds serious. And the whole day really in some ways, but especially after taking the ayahuasca, it wasn't working yet. But when it started to feel it, I started again to feel not much, but there's just general anxiety. I said to Maestro, I said, I know it's not me. I said, but there's general feeling of anxiety, and I think it's the group, someone in the group, or the group anxiety, or what. because they'd already done their first ceremony. I don't know what happened in that, but there was nothing serious. And this is obviously what can happen when cleaning starts. It can take a while to loosen up a possession of some sort, especially when it's powerful, and this was. So later on in our ceremony, probably after, I don't know, I can't find it on the recording. I can't find the screaming, but it may have been such a low level we could hear it fine. And Maestro had already called Papa Julio at this point, so Papa Julio is present, but Maestro wasn't talking to him at first, or he's, you know. But once this screaming had happened and it set off, I was high enough on the, yeah, it must have been after this, a little bit of the second cup, because the ayahuasca was blocked again. And of course I'm clean, so it's not, that's not the reason. And this screaming was horrendous, like some horrendous screaming, and then a second voice. But talking to Alexander yesterday, he wasn't worried at all, because he was in a nice phase. He'd been through a bit of a test with, which is in his chat, his test about, you know, would you be prepared to sacrifice babies for knowledge and this sort of thing. So they were really testing his character. I've never had to go through that because I'm so moral. But talking to the woman this morning, one of the she asked me about my cancer, and because her husband had a lymphoma B, and we were chatting just on our own, and I told her what happened from our perspective because I wanted to know what happened. And she said this girl from Bosnia is new to their group, so they don't know her very well in the States even, you know. So, but apparently she's full of you know, oh, I want to be a shamana and sing and blah blah blah. But she said, look, in the ceremony last night, she was a bit ratty. She said, oh, I was so angry at the end of the ceremony. I was furious because this girl was singing her own stuff in a, I don't know what. It wasn't, she's not a shamana, but she was just singing on the medicine. She said, oh, you know, and then, but she said she was drowning out Maestro Zikros. Maestro Christian had to tell Ruben or somebody to tell her to stop, but she didn't. And she kept singing and she was disruptive. Now, this is characteristic of a possession, because that's what they're there to do. They're there to disrupt and annoy people. But it, you know, I said, oh, well, it's also a test of you know, test of patience and anger, getting your own anger out of your system. I said, I've been in these situations as well. You know, it's horrendous when people are vocalizing and disrupting other people's ceremonies. You can't concentrate on your own visions, your own journey, and you get really angry. So that was what's been going on with this other girl, and it was her who, you know, screamed. And after that, in my ceremony, that's when I told her, I said, oh, Maestro, I just had a vision of a woman standing up in the ceremony with blonde hair. Now she's got sort of dyed highlights, blonde, but there's two others that could also be construed as blonde. So I didn't know which one it was, didn't see any facial description, just saw this black witch kind of bursting out, tall, which I think I've already described in one of the videos. And of course I explained to the woman that we obviously had Papa Julio present, and Papa Julio explained to Maestro exactly what was going on, that it was this Shipibo drink she's been given. Under what circumstances, don't know. They don't know her before, what she might have been doing in other places or here or other retreats, whatever. We don't know how she got it, but, you know, somehow Papa Julio named the drink. And I asked Maestro yesterday, I said, oh, Maestro, Papa Julio told you the name of the drink last night, and he sort of was like a bit puzzled and he couldn't remember, because he took a second cup because Mama Ayahuasca spoke through him as well. Oh, hello, Maestro. Go have some more. And I saw the second drink. He had quite a bit, so he was actually pretty blasted himself. And then he took my chemotherapy out of me, and that made him vomit. And when we walked back, he was the first time I've walked back with him anywhere. From the house to here, they walked me back here, and he was worse than me. He was wobbling all over the place, really Mariado, you know. And it was funny, you know. He was, so we had a bit of a laugh on the way back, but he really needed to sleep. he put a lot of effort into cleaning the chemotherapy out of my blood because it made him vomit. Taking that out because he called the Katawa tree and spoke with Katawa, and Katawa was saying, I listened to it last night, what I recorded, and the Katawa said, he doesn't know much, but he said, sing him an Ikaro for cleaning. So that's when Maestro sang me Ikaro with Katawa present to suck this spiritual component of the chemotherapy out. So hopefully now, skin's a lot better, it's not itching anymore, anywhere near. I had a few bites in bed last night, but it wasn't, there's the odd spot that comes up. Skin's a little bit dry on the surface, and then it looks okay once I shower. It's all right, but then dries out again. But it's getting so much better, especially with a bit of sun when it's sunny. Get out for 15 minutes or whatever. So anyway, it was interesting, of course, from my perspective, to get this vision. So it turns out that this member of the group, so I understand why their group has generally seemed, when I haven't been with them much, but generally they just don't seem relaxed. There are like a lot of frowning going on, and then with the dietas that they're on, they seem to be struggling. It seems to have been a hard trip for them overall for all these various reasons. So they'd obviously know more about the girl, the girl, or how she's interacting, and maybe she's made them feel uneasy. Because that's the thing with ayahuasca. When you've done enough ayahuasca, or even a little, you sometimes just get, Mama's big on trusting instinct. And maybe they've just never felt particularly comfortable with this girl. Who knows? But they've not seemed to be full of beans and fun for sure. So. And the girl was in there this morning with the other woman when I came in for breakfast, just the two of them, and then she got up and left immediately. And I said, "Oh, I got to go. I can't be around or whatever." I said, "It's okay, I said, I spoke to Antonor yesterday about with everybody on dietas, everybody's fine to talk with each other. There's no worry about cross contamination. I'm the one who's actually more at risk than they are because they're relatively dirty coming from the west, but they've had 2 ceremonies, so they'd be clean enough. But anyway, we got cross wires with when the ceremonies are happening because they had a ceremony last night, and of course Maestro Antonor had gone into town back to see his wife, probably with the dengue, and hope so. I hope she's okay and better, feeling better anyway. And then 9 o'clock last night, I had the candle on, and I turned my big torch on, and then Kate came up and said, "Oh, can you turn your lights off?" I'd seen the candles in there, but some of them are sleeping in there anyway. So I didn't think nobody told me that they had a ceremony last night. So of course, it's 9 o'clock. This pissed me off a bit. It's like, oh, fuck, not again. I'm sick of this fucking group because they're, I'm right close to the Maloka. So then I have to turn all my lights off and go to fucking bed at 9 o'clock because it's sit in the dark because you can't even have a candle on because it's light. There's enough light shining from here through into the Maloka. So that fucking was unexpected. I said, "Oh fuck," I said to Kate, I said, "I didn't know you had a ceremony." I said, "Oh yeah, can you turn your light on?" I said, "Oh, fuck's sake, gotta go to fucking bed now." So I was piss-assing around with my small torch, didn't even brush my teeth. So I just listened to music all night. I didn't want to hear Christians singing because it's not particularly great. He doesn't play the guitar or anything, so there's nothing to learn. They're similar but different. Then he sings them differently to Maestros. There's nothing to learn from that, and he hasn't got the same kind of voice by any stretch. So it's just more Ikaro, kind of more incantation singing. It's not tuneful particularly. So I don't want to listen to it anyway. Didn't want to listen to it the first ceremony. I listened for a bit and then thought I don't want to listen to that anymore. So I just listened to my own MP3s, and then luckily it started raining a bit at the end of the ceremony. I must have dropped off for an hour, and then I woke up. It was about 1:45, but they just finishing. The candles were on. I thought, oh, fuck, someone's gonna fall asleep now, like either Kate or Maestro Christian, who's in the hammock near this wall of the Maloka. So I'm fucking snoring all night. but luckily they didn't, and I managed to drop off again, listen to music, and fell asleep again, and woke up at 4. Then the alarm went off at 6, but I ignored it. I just went back and didn't get up till 7. I was supposed to take my drink, which is now, surprisingly, which was Maestro put on me unexpectedly. He must have just decided, no, fuck it, Steve. We just have to, can handle it, give him as much as possible, to give him as much protection as possible. So we did the 3 trees, which I can't remember the third one. So we did Huaca Purana. Then we popped over to another part of the river, and I'm thinking, we've already got the bark for the first one. And then, no, it was another one. So it was Camu Camu Gigante. Because I've heard of Camucops. I had a lot of Camu Camu drinks in my time, high vitamin C fruit drink. And then this third one, I can't remember the name of it. Another long, weird name, but it's on the other videos, Maestro, with Maestro actually collecting it, so I know the name. It's got the name of the tree. So I had the drink at 7 this morning. Just a half of this cup was all is required. So there's 3 trees in that one, but when Maestro comes back today, we'll have the Maloka free. So it'll just be me, Maestro, and whoever else in the family wants to come along. Maybe Jorge again, or if he brings Roberto, they might want to do one. So it'll be nice. I'm glad about that, because I just I would have yesterday. I would have liked. I was talking to Alexander again. It'd be really nice for you, especially on Bourbonsana, because Maestro's got the beautiful Bourbonsana Rick Rose, and they're clean enough. I thought it'd be nice for them to experience Maestro Antonor, because he's got a wonderful voice and he plays the guitar. And, it's just it would have been a nice end, or a nice ceremony for them as their third one, because they've got their last one now on Wednesday, 2 days time, and then they're leaving on Thursday, I believe. So, but they're not going to get that opportunity now, unless Maestro goes into their ceremony on Wednesday, I suppose. Anyway, we don't know, because things can change, it seems, because like changing the dieta, I didn't expect that, just to get hit with 3, and I was a bit kind of pissed off last night about having to turn my light off, and I was also just rethinking the whole thing again, because I've been unsettled. I think it's this group, and because I've been unsettled with that witch, and it shouldn't affect me like that. There shouldn't be elements of doubt or fear, but if that woman was, what she was carrying was fucking strong. It was a Shipibo hex, because this is what Papa Julio said, naming the drink, and this woman's been given this drink probably under the guise of medicine, else why would you drink it? So some evil Shipibo witch has, fucked up the gringo wherever she's been, whatever she's been doing, and been given this hex drink with a fucking major witch in it, basically in the drink, to erupt out and disrupt ceremonies. And of course, that's what they do, And this is what she's been doing, which really annoyed this other woman this morning, with singing her own stuff. And then she said at the end of the ceremony, she went over to Maestro's where he's got the mat on the floor with his bits and bobs, and his skull with the designs on it, and he's got a lot of paraphernalia, more than Maestro Antonor doesn't bother with much. He just has the essentials that he needs. He just has his Agua Florida bowls, bit of perfume, mapacho, his own pipe that he doesn't use very much. So listening to the gongs, Tesha's got one of the smaller ones and one of the bigger ones. These lovely round bowls, the brass bowls, they're expensive, that you tap and they make that. I don't know if you can hear it. That lovely bong sound, like the Hindus have, like the Buddhists use. And then swirl the stick around the rim, it just produces this reverberant, pure tone. It's beautiful on ayahuasca. Really nice sound. But expensive, pure brass. About this round. But she said, this girl at the end of the ceremony, when the ceremony was finished, this girl got up and sat in front of Maestro's table and was saying, I want to connect inside you. And the Maestro was, no, go, move away. I've got spirits around here protecting. move away and go back to your position. So she really is acting in strange ways. So for she just got up and walked out as soon as I came in this morning. And I can't remember what she said. She said, I've been told I've not to have food for 3 days now. So I don't want to be around anyone with food. Because I said to her, it's okay with the dietas, But anyway, and I'm wondering, because there's residue, there always is, and maybe that's why they've told her not to eat anymore either. Because next ceremony they want to make sure she's absolute. Because you have to shit it out. Because even though the actual witch may have been dispelled in Saturday's ceremony, it was powerful, most powerful screaming I've had. And Alexander told me again she was talking in two voices, but it was worse than that. But we couldn't hear. But this singing, she was singing all the time and kept doing it, even though Maestro had told her facilitator to go over there and tell her to stop singing. Then she'd continue, and this is all demonic and witch disruption. That's what they do. It's one of the giveaways of, at first, if someone's not on their own journey and just quiet in ceremony, vocalizing a lot, it's a good chance. Yeah, something on board here. And then usually later on, as the cleaning really gets into the swing of it, it's getting exercised, and then it really makes itself present, because it will start screaming or whatever. As it's getting exercised, it will start screaming through the person, causing fucking mayhem. And of course, for a lot of people, beginners especially the first time who's never even done ayahuasca, you can imagine how fucking freaky that is. It's not pleasant. That's always, I find it fascinating, but this one has even got to me, even in our ceremony. When I came back after mine, we were in good spirits afterwards, because theirs had finished, and we were laughing as we walked up to my path here, because my show was wobbling all over the place. I said, I think I'm going to want to puke as well, Maestro. I said, are you sure you don't want me to joke in? You want me to walk you back? But he had Roberto with him. He said, I'm tired, just go back to him. So back to my room, and so but it was funny to see him. It was nice to be with him when he was actually bombed out as well, because he vomited with me taking that fucking chemo out. I've got that on the recording. So because in the ceremonies I just put the voice recorder on. Obviously there's no point in having a black video, and it's not, you wouldn't upload a whole ceremony anyway, because a lot of it's blank space with just gaps between Icaros, or Maestro just occasionally. So there can be 15 minutes of relative silence and stuff like that. No one's going to watch a YouTube video with that anyway. Not that it's really anything to do with them, but it's just for my own records, so that they're not on my phones, and I can always clear my phones. So yeah, when I got back here, I was still quite high, but I felt rough. Did I vomit? Yeah, I spoke into my my cup. I got a flask of Hierba Luisa here, and I put my own incantation, just my own little vocalization into it to say, calm my stomach, help me vomit. And it's been working. And then I thought I'd try, because of that witch scenario, I actually started just singing a little bit of the Boa Negra, and I actually got a vision of the snake coming. So that was nice. And then maybe a bit more in my imagination, he spoke to me and he said, yeah, I'll coil myself around your hut. And then he was like huge, coiled around here with his head sticking out the top, sort of saying, nothing will come near here, because else I'll swallow them. But the bit of a vision there for a minute. Actually, like an ayahuasca vision of the snake just caught when I was singing it and coming. So that was nice, because I got that, listened to that Icaro a lot with Maestro. I've never tried calling the Boa Negra. I've never met him in an ayahuasca vision before, so that was interesting. But last night, being straight, I was kind of again thinking, oh fuck, I'm not sure I want to do this, and you get the odd nights where it's just irritable, and then just thinking, fuck, well, it's all down. But again, the choice is out of my hands now, because I would only be able to continue if there's enough money. I'm also facing the overstay situation. So unless XRP goes up, there's enough money for the next 3, which will be at Maestro's house, and then I'll reevaluate at that point, because it's, you know, even after 2 weeks you get the odd day where it's like, oh, I'm fucking sick of being in the jungle, or just you're bored, and then you have something like that where I had to turn my light off at 9 o'clock, and I wasn't wasn't tired at all. You know, I wouldn't normally have gone to bed till probably 11 that night. It wasn't particularly cold, so I'd have just sat up with my tracksuit on, and I was bored smoking my Pacho though, and didn't want to do any rapping because there's no reason. Didn't want to meditate because my dietas was closed. But anyway, the new one will be open tonight, on these three trees. So I'm just thinking, oh, I wonder how that's going to affect me. You know, that might be difficult, having 3 of them on board and all 3 jealous. But then it's good because there's no reason for me to want to talk to the group now. I won't be doing a ceremony with them, and I'll be glad. I'll be glad to have them gone, really. Although I'll be leaving pretty much at the same time. We're probably going to leave on Thursday as well. So I'll go into Nauta, try and pull some money out for Maestro from a cash point there. So he's got finished this Dieta's payments off, remaining $600. May stay a night in Nauta because I've never stayed. And I was just talking to Ruben. He said Nauta's pretty big. I didn't realise it was a big town, but it is, because I've never been there long enough to actually look around it. I've only sort of been waiting for a taxi, you know, half an hour, ready to leave, waiting for more passengers to arrive before we left. So I've never had a chance to look around it. Only like a first corner, like top up my phone or something like that. But it's never looks particularly big coming in. It's just a few houses here and there. But there's obviously a much bigger area to it, because he said no, it's pretty big. It's not as big as Iquitos, but it's big. So I didn't realise that about Nauta. So I might stay in a hospedaje, or depending if I'm not tired, I might just continue straight into Iquitos. That'll kill the whole day travel, well, a good half day travel. Stay in the hotel, collect all my stuff together, then the next day come back to Nauta, stay in a hospedaje in Nauta, and then just stay there, be ready for bring my other cards, and then try and stay a couple of nights or whatever, and find out when Maestro, he'll probably want a break after 3 weeks and be with his family or whatever. And he's also doing work on the house. He was going in yesterday to try and get a carpenter and probably pick up some other bits, so that today he'll be up at his house finishing bits off. He's got to buy a gas stove, Calagas bottles, so that we can cook independently food, so that we can cook independently at his house and not have to be here, because beginning of February there's a group of 12 coming. I don't want to be around that at all. You know, I like this little Tambo, but it's too close to the Maloka, and this business about having to, when I'm not, you know, obviously I'm not in with that group, so it's a pain in the arse. They have 4 ceremonies for the period in a week, and it's, you know, it means I have to shut down early every friggin' night they have a ceremony. You know, lights off by 9 o'clock. And fortunately, Christian's a bit late starting. They kind of get there at 8, but by the time, I suppose, he does all the drinks one by one, whatever, you know, by the time they'll do that and have their intentions, and then, because it was 10 past 9 or thereabouts last night, 9 o'clock, 10 past 9 the first night, when I was logging it, just out of interest, you know, I heard him singing the first protection Icaros at about 8:30, but they didn't put the candles out till 10 past 9. Presumably that was the period where people are getting up and taking their drinks. Fuck knows. So he seems very slow to get started. Unlike, you know, Maestro's not. He just fucking sits down, whistles into the ayahuasca or an Icaro, pours the drinks, fucking slug it down, lights out, starts singing immediately. Just gets on with it, which is great. You know, more time in the ceremony and more time to recover that, you know, later on if you're having a rough night or you're up late. So, I said to the woman, I said, yeah, it's a pain in the ass for me. I said, because after your ceremonies are finished, somebody is sleeping here and snoring my fucking head. I said, how you guys stay in there and sleep? She said, I don't. She said, I go back to my room. I can't stand it. She said, no, but I was so angry last night with the other girl. Oh shit! I was just so she did raise it yesterday. Apparently, they had a sharing circle kind of scenario, and apparently the girl was, "Oh, I didn't know what I was doing," and that could be genuine, but it could be an egotistical thing too, but a narcissistic. Oh, I didn't, because I've had that in ceremonies where people self-justify the next day for their disruptive behavior. Say, "Oh, Mama Ayahuasca told me that it was okay to be myself." That's what happened with that black doctor guy from fucking Ghana or wherever he was from, um, working in the States. Woman with a terrible BO, stank at fucking 10 feet away. That guy's like, "Fuck, man, why don't you get in the shower?" This is the thing with ayahuasca. Because when you can be so sensitive to things, and if you're not in a generally happy space because something's not right, until you get to a point where you just, you've had all those things removed from you and they don't phase you anymore. But I've been through hell in some of mine because of other people, either falling asleep 5 times and snoring right next to me, fucking irritable as fuck, like on the verge of just, "Will you shut the fuck up? Fuck's sake, is you." And of course, Mama's getting that innate anger out of you as well, and that's part of your test. But it's difficult. It can really be difficult when, especially like with that girl sounded horrendous. If she's singing whatever the fuck she's singing, I mean, it could be in Bosnian, whatever language, whether they speak Russian or what the fuck, I don't know. She's just singing stuff. But she justified the next day, apparently saying, "Oh, when I'm on the medicine, it just makes me feel like singing." It's like, well, have some fucking respect. You don't sing when the fucking shaman is singing their Icaros. You're not a fucking shaman. It's not a friggin' disco. So this is the sort of shit that can happen with certain clients. But there's usually a good reason. So it was a form of possession of some sort, because that's what they're there. That's what they do. So they try to disrupt, and of course, as the ceremony continues, and then they start getting sucked out. They get exercised, and then they scream. If they're really powerful, they'll make a fucking big song and dance. That's for sure. Thrashing around with the person's body, or freaking them out. I'd love to have my phone to have picked up what I heard, but I haven't found it because our ceremony was 4 hours long, and I've been skipping through it trying to find the point, because it didn't last long. It was only a couple of minutes, and on a big wave file, it's fucking difficult. Yeah, you just got to listen to the whole lot. But yeah, I've just felt a bit uneasy the last couple of days myself. Unusual for me, because normally I find it all fascinating, but that one was strong, and to have a vision of it, it's like still parts of it are floating around the fucking joint, hanging around. Not today though. So I'm happy now I've had those conversations, because it means I clarified it when Ruben came in. He said, "No, there's no ceremony tonight for the group." Um, so I'm on my own with Maestro. That's great. So it'll just be us. I'll sing along to the 2 or 3 or 4 bits, or more really, that I know. He might get me to sing Weito and Anzine again. So I did that the first time I've sung. He didn't comment on it. I mean, obviously I'm not a shaman, so it probably wouldn't have any power with it. But from my perspective, it was interesting, because I've never sung it like that before. It just kind of, something flowed through me at some minimal level, was just a sort of a way to sing it, just more slower than usual. But I don't like singing it, because it's not a Peruvian Icaro. It's we learned that at Casa del Sol in Ecuador, and although Jimena was Peruvian, she was San Pedro shamana, who taught us that one because it's simple. But it's in the language of Nahuatl, which is Inca. There's a translation on the web of it. It's just a really simple prayer to the Mother of the Earth, which isn't Mama Ayahuasca, really, as far as I'm aware. It's more like kind of a sister, from what information or impressions I've been given in ayahuasca. So it's like Mama Ayahuasca's sister spirit, who's responsible for the planet Gaia, I suppose some people would call it. But Mama Ayahuasca, as far as I know, or I've been led to believe, with my intuitions and ayahuasca ceremonies, that Mama Ayahuasca is responsible for all biological life on Earth. So, but it's an oration to Madre Tierra, Mother Earth. But and now I'm thinking that I probably won't even bother buying a guitar again. I'll just use Maestros, because there's just no point. Because I'm not fucking dragging a guitar around traveling with me. You'll end up getting broken, or taking it into aircraft. If you haven't got a hard case, it's $70 guitar. I can't be fucked, because they're cheap and they go out of tune and all this shit, and I can't be fucked with it. But without being stable and traveling, and so the way I feel at the moment, I'm just thinking, I'll do these dietas for the protection, and make sure, try and learn the orations so that I can say them on my own when I'm traveling on my own, whenever there's a potential for attacks, or just singing each day or whatever while I'm traveling, and keep myself protected, because then I'll have 6 trees on board. No, we've got 3. No, 3 today. Tower 4, and if I do another 3, he might add more trees to the others now. It might not just be 3 tree dietas in the next phase. It might be, he might do what he did yesterday and put more trees in one drink. So I don't know how many I'll end up with over in the coming second set of 3 dietas. So anyway, but if XRP doesn't go up, I won't be in a position to, I'm not going to keep, just the thought of having to do a year, and it would have to be just continuous, and it's hard work. It's not hard work. The dietas haven't been difficult. It's just, you get sick of it, and just being in the jungle, or you get your days where you just, that's part of the dieta. You get days where you're a bit, I'm fucking fed up with this. I just want to leave and do something else, but unfortunately I haven't got anything else. But so I was watching a few videos in town. I was watching Mendit Mark doing an electronics video, and sooner or later, unless XRP went through the fucking roof, it went up $1 just recently, which is why I got an extra couple of grand in there to pull out, but which is what's paying for this, because I don't want to touch the bulk of it. So I only sold £1,000 worth, and when I go into Nauta, I'll have to transfer that. That should have cleared. Well, it's gone into Kraken, but I'll have to transfer that to my bank, because my bank's basically empty now. It will be when I take the money out for Maestro, the next set, and the remains of this one. So anyway, another boring waffly load of shite. Just sorting all these videos out in fucking time order. I don't know. Just not important anyway. It's just provided that they're all records of various days and what's been going on. That's all that counts. Fucking what order they happened in is irrelevant, really. It just gives the overall sort of view of what's involved. For me, really, it's only my record at the end of the day.